Okay, so today we're going to be making this variation of a sawtooth star. It's a sawtooth star, but then the corners have these half square triangles instead of just a square. So that's the variation. But for what you'll need for this, for the flying geese sections, we're going to be needing 1 square of fabric that is 6 inches. And then we're going to be needing 4 squares of fabric. These are 3 3/8. And then for our center block, we'll need a 5-inch square. And then for our half square triangles here on the corners, we're going to need 2 squares of fabric. I have a black and a cream with the black cats. These are both 4 5/8 inches. So we'll get started with the half square triangles. They're super easy. We're making 4 at a time. So we'll just take our 2 pieces, we'll line them up right sides together, then we'll just sew around each edge 1/4 inch away. Okay, so we have our squares sewn together here. Next, we'll just grab our mat and we're going to trim them, cut them into the half square triangles. So we'll just place our ruler from corner to corner, and then we'll just slice down the middle. And then we'll place our ruler over here, the other direction, and we'll slice from corner to corner. And this will make our half square triangles. Okay, so before we iron them open, we're going to trim them up. So we want them to be 2 3/4 inch. So on this ruler, I don't know if you can tell, they have these markings for 2 inches, 3 inches, but then along the sides and along the middle, they have markings so that you can do other sizes that you don't necessarily, that aren't regular sizes. So I'm just going to line up the seam of the stitching right along that 2 3/4 mark, and then we'll just trim along the edges of the ruler, and then the half square triangle will be 2 3/4 inch. Okay, and we'll just repeat that with the rest. All right, so next we just need to press them open. So we'll just go ahead, and I like to press towards the black just so that you don't see that black fabric through the cream. Okay, so then the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to trim the tails off. Okay, so next we're going to make our flying geese. So we're going to take our large 6-inch black square. We're going to place it face up. I'm just using a piece of paper here because I'm going to be drawing. I like to place it kind of on the diagonal. Then we'll place one of our 3 3/8 squares on the bottom corner, and we'll place one on the top corner. Then we'll take our ruler, and on these quilting rulers they have these markings. You'll want to find the 1/4 inch marking. There's usually one right along the edge of the ruler. So we'll line up that 1/4 inch marking in the center from corner to corner. Then we're going to draw a line on the edge, so that will be 1/4 inch away from the center. And I am using a friction pen just because this fabric is kind of harder to see with a pencil. I normally just use a pencil, but this friction pen will just erase with heat, so when I iron it, the lines will disappear. So we'll go ahead and line it up on the other side. We'll do the same thing, draw a line 1/4 inch away. Now we'll go to the sewing machine and we'll sew along both of these lines. Okay, so once the lines are sewn, you're going to take your ruler, line it up from corner to corner between the seams, and then you'll just slice right down the middle, just like that. And then we'll get our ironing mat here, and we'll press these open. So you'll end up with this funny heart-shaped looking thing. Then we're going to take our other squares and we're going to place them on these black corners right here. Just right in the corner. And then we're going to take our pen again. We'll take our ruler, line up the 1/4 inch mark along that corner, from corner to corner, right along the center. And then draw a line on both sides of that center point, just like we did before. We'll flip it and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then we'll take these over to the sewing machine and we will sew along these lines that we just drew. Okay, so we have our pieces sewn together and we'll just do the same thing where we slice between the lines that we just sewed. So just from corner to corner again, we'll just cut that apart. Okay, and then we will press them open. All right, so we have our flying geese, but we need to trim them up. And since this is not a typical size, I'll show you how I'm going to do this. So I do have this flying geese ruler. I'm going to use it to start with to get this top edge straightened up. So I'm going to line up the markings on the ruler with the triangle part. And then I'll just slice off this top uneven section, just like that. Now, we want this to be 5 inches wide. So to do that, I'm going to take this ruler right here. It has markings every 1/4 inch up to 6.5 inches. But I'm going to place the 2.5 inch line right where the point is. The point is the center. So I'm going to place that line along the center, and then I'm going to line up the edge with one of these lines going that direction. And then I'll just trim off this edge. Then I'll repeat, I'll turn this around the other way. Let's see. If we do it this way, then this 2.5 inch line, I'll line it up on the center again. Line up this top edge that we already straightened with one of these lines. And then we can trim the other side. Now it's going to be 5 inches because it's 2.5 from the center on both sides. That makes 5. And then this direction we want it to be 2 3/4. So we'll just take our ruler and we'll just line up 2 3/4 along this straight side that we just trimmed. And then we'll just cut the top part. But gotta get the right line. That didn't look right. 2 3/4 right there. And then we'll just trim off this bottom piece. And then we have a perfect rectangle for our block. So we'll just finish that with these other pieces. All right, so we have all of the pieces for our block ready to go. We're just going to take our center piece, the orange square, place it in the middle, and then around it we'll put these flying geese. And we're going to want the points to point outward to create this star. And then we'll go ahead and take our half square triangles and we'll place the black half towards the middle. And then we're going to sew them together. So we'll take this top row, sew it together, sew the middle row together, then sew the bottom row together. Okay, so we've got all our rows sewn together. Next we'll just give them a quick press. I'll take the top rows, the top row and the bottom row, and we'll press them towards the half square triangles. And then the middle, we will press towards the middle. This will allow us to nest our seams so that the block lays nice and flat. Okay, so next we will sew the block together. So we'll take this top piece with right sides together, we will sew along this edge. Then we'll flip the bottom one up and sew along this edge. Okay, so we have our variation of the Sawtooth star here. We'll just give it a press to get it all nice and flat. Okay, so stay tuned because next time we're going to be putting together our table runner. So if you didn't make these yet, go ahead and check out these videos, but we've got 4 blocks for this table runner. So we have the Sawtooth star variation, we have the uneven 9 patch, we have the double monkey wrench or churn dash block, and then the Greek cross block. So be sure and check those out and then come back for the tutorial for the table runner.